We're standing at the brink of the greatest opportunity in our entire career. See, if 81% of people are about to fire their financial advisor, the question is, where are they going to go? If we're different than the 81%, if we're the 19% that have made our clients happy, this is the greatest opportunity in our entire career.
Tom and I didn't used to systematize anything within our practice. Sure, everybody said systematize, but God, that seemed like a lot of work. And let me tell you what changed that. 5 years ago, I got a call from a client. I'd met with him 3 months earlier to roll over a $500,000 401k. 3 months later, he calls me. Hey, let me ask you a question. Did my 401k ever transfer over? I said, well, I think so. So we called the 401k company and they said, no, the paperwork wasn't received in good order. So they didn't transfer it and we didn't even know. Why? Because we had no system in place.
Nothing is more scary than for the client to have left where they were, whether it was a 401k or another advisor. They've decided to work with you and I. They've signed on the dotted line. Basically, here's what we've done. We've said, we've dated them. We've said, will you marry me? They say, yeah. We slide a ring on their finger, right? Sign the paperwork. And then they don't hear from us for the next 6 months. Try that with your spouse. How would they feel? Our clients would feel the exact same way. And so when they say, yes, we'll marry you, and they sign the paperwork, that begins the relationship. And we want to start communicating with them a lot during that beginning. So ask yourself, what is my procedure when I take on a new client? Have I systematized it? You know, every good business has a system.
If you needed a good attorney, would it shock you if he was going to make the decision whether or not he was going to take on the case? I mean, if you met with him and he said, before we get started, let me just explain to you we're selective about the cases that we bring on. So I'm going to listen to your situation. I'm going to get together with my team and we'll contact you and let you know whether or not we'd be a good fit for one another. Would that necessarily surprise you? Not if he was successful. You'd expect that out of a successful attorney. Wouldn't you expect that out of a successful financial planner? Wouldn't you expect that perhaps they would be the one making the decision about who they were going to work with?
And just think about it. The average advisor begs a client to work with them, begs them. The client finally either thinks it over if they finally decide that they're going to work with them and they feel like they've won the lotto. The advisor does, not in our office. Let's all admit one very important fact. What if John and Mary promised each other on the way to our office, or if you're meeting with clients in their home, when you're coming to their home, what have they all promised each other? Whatever happens today, we're not going to make any decisions. We're not signing anything. They made this pinky promise, right? And yet the average advisor, through the whole meeting, tries to get them to break the pinky promise. And they've decided already they're not going to make a decision. Not in our office. What if we just told John and Mary? Who's making the decision? Now, why can't you and I make the decision? We're all successful advisors. Why is it that we all thought from the beginning of our career that John and Mary held the key to whether or not we worked with them?
What is an advisor supposed to look like? Everybody that comes into our office, all the retirees, are wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. They're retired. They come in a golf cart. And so we all assumed that that's the way they expected us to dress casual. But something happened that changed that.
We're meeting in a boardroom to have this client advisory meeting, and the clients are sitting there wearing shorts, flip-flops, and a golf shirt. And we asked them, when you walk into our office, how do you expect us to dress? And they all went like this, not like that. And I was first fairly offended. I thought, well, how could you say that? Look the way that you're dressed. But you know what? Here's the thing. They're in uniform. See, they're retired. That's their uniform. That's okay for them to dress that way. I wasn't in uniform. When you show up at a client's house or they walk into your office, do they look at you and say, this guy manages money for a living?
Was anybody else impressed? The speaker before us, when he showed that picture of his staff back at the office, was anybody else impressed with that? Does it surprise you that he's a top producer? It shouldn't. Because I can assure you, he's not on the phone trying to schedule appointments for himself. Couldn't somebody else do that? He's not calling clients to do reviews or doing withdrawal forms. I can assure you he's probably not doing that. He's doing what makes the office money. and that's meeting with clients. So if you don't have staff, maybe now's the right time. If you want to see your business explode, really go to the next level, now's the time to find somebody, even if it's just somebody part-time. Even if you just said to somebody, 2 days a week, I just need you to burn up the phones and schedule appointments for me.
That right there was the ticket to us being able to now take care of our clients. And when we started taking care of our clients, a magical thing happened. When we focused on just taking care of our clients, they took care of us.